This is the Royals Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Kansas City Royals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Royals Postcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chance Liebau, and I'm here to bring you reaction to every single Royals game the rest of the way. You can follow me on Twitter at Chance Liebau. That's right by my name tag here on the live stream. But if you're not here live, do not worry. These episodes will always be uploaded for you to listen to on demand wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for making the Locked On Royals podcast or the Royals Postcast your first listen of the day. And thank you for making the Royals Postcast your go-to spot for post-game reactions for the Royals. Before we get started, remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on our notifications so that you get an alert whenever we go live. Thanks for joining the show, and join the live chat. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Curtis said it earlier, going to be a sour crowd in here tonight. Yeah, definitely a really sour crowd. This was I don't want to call it the worst loss of the season because I don't even think this is the worst loss they had in Chicago. I think the loss they had where they, peed down their legs and lost it in Cags' second series on a Friday night. They couldn't even pick off the first base properly. That would probably be my worst loss of the season just because of how they played that game. They looked like a bunch of non-pros playing that. But tonight, definitely up there in terms of, I'd say this is definitely a top 5 bad loss of the season. Definitely, like somebody said in the chat, this is one of the worst. This is worse than the 2 losses in Detroit, and I'd absolutely agree. Just bad all the way around tonight. Noah Cameron gets shelled. The offense gets 2-hit shutout, 4 base runners all game, 3 manufactured base runners. One of them was on an error. Just a all-around poor performance for the Royals tonight. I don't think you can cut this one up either way. I don't know. Obed saying, I say it's the worst loss of the season a lot of times. I try not to. It's definitely up there. I don't think this is even, I think this is worse than the Washington losses, but I don't know if I'd say this is definitely a top 3 worst loss of the season just because of how they played tonight. I mean, a 2-hour game, 4 base runners all night. Shane Smith's a pretty good pitcher. Nowhere near a guy that should be going into the 7th inning with a 1-hit shutout going. Until Bobby Witt Jr. had that double in the 9th inning, the Royals had 1 base runner in scoring position all night long. So that is a great segue into tonight's edition of What You'll Be Talking About.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Just abysmal offense. They might have had some bad luck tonight, but I'm not going to chalk it up to that. They lost this game for a multitude of reasons tonight. 11 hard hits tonight for the Royals. They had outs with expected batting averages of 330, 530, 450, 290. So they were hitting the ball in the screws at times tonight, but they just didn't do enough. Shane Smith's a solid pitcher, but if you look at where he was at tonight, I don't think he was anywhere near the kind of pitcher that should do what he did against the Royals. I mean, he was just shoving his fastball up there, 43 fastballs from Shane Smith, 16 sinkers. And this dates back to what we saw from Ryan Nelson when the Royals played in Arizona. The Royals this season have been one of the worst fastball hitting teams in Major League Baseball. And it's been that way all season. I don't think it's changed. They brought in guys that are not fastball hitters. Yastrzemski, Grichuk. Frazier's a solid fastball hitter, but those other guys are not. And so the plan for the White Sox pitching staff was, okay, we will throw them the big old number 1 and we'll see how they like it, which is exactly what Shane Smith did tonight. If you account for his sinker calling that a fastball, which I will because it is a variation of the fastball, he threw 74% fastballs tonight. He threw them in the zone 75% of the time. So not only do you know what you're getting, the big old red number 1, you're also getting it in the zone. And the Royals just weren't able to hit it. A terrible hitting fastball team could not hit fastballs all season long. They didn't do it tonight. And give credit. I mean, give credit to the game plan, not only for Shane Smith, but on a very, very, very green pitching staff in terms of coaching staff there in Chicago for having a game plan that was ready to go out there and win tonight. The Royals did not come in prepared. I know there are a lot of people that are in the chat saying it was because of the fantasy football draft. I don't know if that's the case. It's a 2-week road trip, no no days off, but just an abysmal loss in all directions. I don't even know what to say. I mean, there's not even one guy you could point to on the offense that was. I mean, Yastrzemski walked and hit a ground rule double. Tip your cap to him. Bobby had a hit, but then you get two punch outs for Salvi, one for Frazier, one for India. They only struck out 4 times all night long, so they're putting the ball in play. They literally just could not do anything with it. I mean, hard outs. But then again, how many times can you make that excuse? Lift the ball a little bit. They whiffed. They did not whiff much on the fastball from Shane Smith tonight, but they really didn't get the hardest ball they hit against against the fastball. I guess they had a couple hard hits, but average exit velocity against the fastball of 89 miles an hour, sinker 79. They hit the curveball well. I mean, they averaged 104 against the curveball, which was not in the strike zone really at all tonight. So they just weren't able to do anything. I just don't understand how this team can do what they have done. They just have not been good enough. They just have not been good enough here at the plate, not consistent enough, in my opinion. And that's why they lose this game. This is another edition of Royals baseball where they just aren't built for the moment. And unfortunately, they lose tonight in not even dramatic fashion, just poor. I'm not allowed to curse on this show, but there are a lot of words that I wish I could use to describe this Royals offensive performance because it was just not up to snuff. That's 3 out of the last 4 where the offense has done nada against some pretty mediocre pitchers. I mean, Casey Mize is whatever. They did a decent job against him, but Chris Paddock's a guy that throws BP, and they didn't get Jack against him. They were able to hit around Jack Flaherty a little bit yesterday, and today they get Shane Smith and just aren't able to do anything against him. It's time and time again where the Royals offense just fails to show up in a back against the wall situation. And folks, now they're 67 and 65. They could get 4 games out of the wild card tonight. I don't want to deem the season over because obviously I want the viewership to continue, but man, it's hard to envision this team even making the playoffs or, even being in contention going into the last 2 weeks of the season. There is a non-zero, better than 20% chance, I would say, that this team has an E next to their name heading into the final 2 weeks of the season. It's the unfortunate reality of where this team is at. And I hate that that's where we are. But once again, we continue to have this conversation. The Royals just don't do enough in these spots. Back against the wall, need a win. They just don't do enough. And that's why I just think this team doesn't have the mental fortitude of a winning World Series playoff consistent contender. They need a serious mix-up this offseason in a lot of different ways. But this is unfortunate that this is where they're at right now. A back-breaking loss to the White Sox, one that we did not want to have to talk about. But I appreciate you guys for still being with us. I mean, being here in the comments and being here during the show, I really appreciate you guys for not giving up on us. But I will not give up on the Royals. You shouldn't either. You should continue to tune in every night. But somebody in the comments talking about Noah Cameron, a lot of talk about Noah Cameron tonight. I'll talk about his outing and the decision of Matt Quatrero to leave him into the 6th inning, stretch him out a little bit. We'll talk about that when we come back here on the Royals Postcast. It is time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape, ginger, lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary and excludes the Masters tournament. This ends October 31st, 2025. And August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day. a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. So take a flyer on the MVP race. Been on the record, Baker's my guy. I've drafted him in every fantasy league I've been in. I've got a lot of cards on the table for Baker Mayfield right now. You can also crown your champion in August. I personally have the Chiefs, or you can parlay your division winner dark horses. All you have to do is visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. Tomorrow, FanDuel, play your game. All right, let's talk Noah Cameron. Bad outing tonight for Noah Cameron, gets roughed up as well. I didn't think he was terrible. I mean, I thought he would just farting around with his with his command a little bit too much, and we've seen him kind of picking a little bit. And the damning statistic that I've seen, and I saw tonight, the Royals didn't pick up their first strikeout until the ninth inning. They didn't pick up their first strikeout till the ninth inning, and I'm all for pitching to contact and guys that are able to get outs on the bases, weak contact, blah blah blah. At some point, you have to be able to get guys out on your own. And that's my biggest concern with Noah Cameron. It was my biggest concern with Brady Singer. It's probably my biggest concern with a lot of the pieces in this Royals rotation. I was doing some research today, and I thought the Royals rotation was just taxed. They or really underperforming. The bullpen wasn't doing well, which we're going to get to a comment here. Rich says, why do you think Q kept Cameron in the game after going down 6-0? Did it just not matter at that point? Rich, I appreciate the question. The reason is because the bullpen is just so out of shape right now. And even then, I mean, 88 pitches, you should probably be able to keep going. I think you would have liked to get 6 out of him, because honestly, they just don't have enough guys in the bullpen that are healthy right now and ready to go. I did some research today, and I looked at FanGraphs, and the Royals starting pitching staff, it's really honestly like top half of the league in terms of their innings pitched since the All-Star break. So they've been doing fine. They just haven't had quality starts. But also at the same time, they are one of the bottom in strikeouts. This pitching staff just does not strike guys out. It's what Cole Reagans did at an elite level. It's when Michael Lorenzen is at his best, what he can do well. But they just don't have guys that can strike guys out. And at this point of the season, when the ball is flying around because the weather's hot, it's humid, the ball is flying a little bit, you need to be able to get guys out on your own, on the mound, strike guys out. Because at this stage of the season, that weak contact you were getting in April because it's freezing bleep cold, you're not getting those because that weak contact is blooping over the shortstop and it's heading into the outfield for a base hit. They're just not getting enough guys out at the plate right now. And that's my biggest concern. I mean, they're never going to be, in my opinion, this pitching staff is never going to be a strikeout pitching staff. It's just not. I'm going to pull up FanGraphs right here because I'm curious about it, whether they are, where they're at in terms of their season so far. Just give me a second. Since the All-Star break, I want to do some research. This is bad podcasting, but in the second half, the starting pitchers are, this is really bad podcasting right here. In Major League Baseball, are second worst in strikeouts per 9 innings. They are also bottom 15 in walks per 9 innings. So you're seeing a starting pitching staff that just fails to get guys out. That just fails to get guys out at the plate on their own. And that's why, while they're probably throwing more innings it's taking them more pitches to get through those innings because they're fighting tooth and nail. They're letting runners up on base. And for my money, that's probably why this starting pitching staff has struggled in the second half, similar to how they struggled in the second half a bit last year. I mean, Lugo went through a really tough stretch last year in the second half. I think it was Joel Penfield on Twitter that talked about that. But in my opinion, it's just an inability of guys to be able to get guys out the plate. They don't have overpowering stuff. They rely a lot on, kind of what the 2014-15 teams did. I mean, Cole Reagans and Yordano Ventura are very similar in terms of their roles on their pitching staffs. Yordano Ventura was a unicorn on that staff. He was a guy that would get you 5 innings, but it'd take him 100 pitches to get through because he'd be super wild, but he'd strike out a ton of guys because he had overpowering stuff. That's kind of where Cole Reagans is at when he's healthy right now. And then the rest of the guys, James Shields, tooth and nail to get you 6 innings of 3-run baseball. It's not going to be pretty. There's going to be a ton of balls in play, but it's still going to be getting the job done. Irvin Santana was the same way. Jeremy Guthrie was that to a T. So they just have a bunch of guys that do not get guys out of the plate. And we've seen that a bit with Lucas Ursig in terms of his second half usage. He just hasn't been able to get guys out at the plate. That's why he struggled here recently. Strikeout numbers are way down, and he's never been a strikeout guy. So the inability for them to strike guys out, to punch guys out, that's my biggest concern with this team, because Noah Cameron tonight, he was in the zone 52% of the time, but he only got 4 whiffs on 40 swings, 10% whiff rate. That's where he's pretty much at all season. It's not great where he's been at this season, but I just don't love exactly what I've seen from this pitching staff, especially Noah Cameron. I love the hype for him. I love everybody. He's a local kid. You love to see the local kid doing it. But when you get, 10% whiff rate against one of the worst hitting teams in baseball, that's just not good enough. And there are, LMW saying biggest concern is the hitting. Man, there's a lot of big concerns for this team. I don't think this is a perfect unit. I think there are a lot of things that they can improve upon, but at the end of the day, they have to wait until the offseason. And at the end of the day, I mean, really, you kind of have to rely on development, and they just haven't developed enough quality players to this point. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Dayton Moore was a horrible draft guy for a decade. The scouting department, despite getting a amateur overhaul with Brian Bridges coming in, which I really like, they just don't draft very well. They draft a bunch of high school kids, and the college kids that they've drafted, like a Gavin Cross, just haven't panned out. He got a tick-borne disease 2 years ago, and he just has not been able to physically recover from it. They have a bunch of guys that are 2 years away. And that's the unfortunate reality of baseball. There's not a quick answer. It's not like the NFL or the NBA where you've got a draft in 3 months and you could probably, reload your team in a lot of key areas. The Royals are going to have to spend some money, or they're going to have to wheel and deal. And that might be painful that they have to cut away some top prospects. But at the same time, this is a tough business, and it's a results-based business. As good as the process might be, the results have been very mediocre. So just very frustrated with tonight's loss. A lot of fingers to point it at. But definitely a stain on the season that has been for the Kansas City Royals. Let me know in the comments where you would rank this loss on the season for the Royals. I said a bottom 5 loss, like one of the worst 5 losses of the season. I don't think it's the worst loss. I think the loss against the White Sox in June was probably the worst loss, because they just showed an inability to play the game of baseball like professionals should. So let me know in the comments where you would rank this loss this season, because I'd like to know, how far we are to the cliff, because tonight was not fun for Royals fans and for myself as well. I appreciate you guys for being here with us tonight. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tomorrow night we'll be back. We'll be back around, let's say, it's the same first pitch time tomorrow, but at the same time, it is also, while it is the same first pitch time, tonight's game is only 2 hours. So tomorrow we'll probably be back here around 9:15 is what I would assume, but never know. But the best way to know is to turn on our notifications so you know when Jack posts a video and also when I go live. So be sure to do that, and we'll see you here tomorrow for another edition of the Royals Postcast.